What's up, guys? You guys have been waiting for me to talk about Kawhi Leonard and go through a history. I've been on the phone having conversations for a long time with people that actually know Kawhi Leonard and his uncle, Dennis Robinson. I didn't conversate with him, but people that know him and a lot of people in San Antonio. I have family that he used to work for the Spurs, but he doesn't anymore, but still have connections there. He met his fiance there. Um, it's pretty much a catching up the base first before you start getting to the meat and potatoes. But you guys just get the meat and potatoes. Isn't that great? Me, I had to get caught up for 2 hours. But anyway, during that process, here's the information. It's very obvious Kawhi Leonard is injured. He's not faking his injury. His quad was bothering him. Now, he's not mad at the Spurs because they didn't go out and get a free agent to come play with him and all that stuff. I mean, Uncle Robinson was a tough negotiator when it came to getting that contract. He fired his agent to hire his uncle for his best interest. And Uncle Robinson, that's who Kawhi Leonard trusts. So if his Uncle Robinson ain't happy, Kawhi ain't gonna be happy. So once they plan him, then he's saying, I can't go, something's wrong. My quad muscle keeps hurting. So once again, they go in there and they check him out again. And now he's not agreeing with the Spurs doctors and the way they handled the situation, the way they tried to make it seem like he was just didn't want to come back and he didn't want to play till he was right and ready to play. Because he played a couple of games and he wasn't there yet. Of course, it's going to take some actual gameplay, and they thinking like, I think maybe he's frustrated and he's not really hurt. And once the kind of sentiments was coming out that they were questioning his injury or how hurt was he really as to why he was sitting out and all these other injuries he got, they were kind of you know felt like the organization was questioning his motives because his uncle was weighing in on the fact that they could go other places or they should try to move him if they don't believe in him or don't believe this Kawhi Leonard situation could be fixed. So the relationship has soured with him and Pop, and it's been sour for months. And it's to the point where Kawhi wanted to be moved at the trade deadline. He would be more than willing to have been moved at that trade deadline. But because of his contract and how it was structured, the Spurs couldn't do no such thing. So now he's stuck. And Pop's just basically shutting it down as far as Kawhi coming back in the game. He's like, look, man, I'm being realistic. We got like, what, 30 more games, maybe 20 some odd games, and then that's it. It's the playoffs time to roll. And right now, we got to worry about the guys that's here. We can't be hoping and wishing and praying Kawhi comes back and plays. So, to tell you the truth, I don't think he's going to play. So they might deactivate him at the end of the season for the playoffs, and then that would pretty much be his tenure in San Antonio because there's no way they're going to bring him back next year. And they'll have to check out and see what happened and see if they misdiagnosed something. That's why they were doing all these checks. And normally San Antonio is a very good medical team, as far as evaluating injuries. So it was always surprising to me to hear that Kawhi's injury and all this other stuff was his leg was bothering him so much. But that's what's really going on right now. That he's really sore, he's really hurt, and his quad wasn't getting any better. Now he's been cleared to play medically, but he still might have pain. So they were like, the doctors cleared you, which brings up the other issue. If you have pain in your quad when you play, and the doctor's saying, well, he's cleared to play, how can you clear a guy who tells you he's in pain? So something's definitely not right. Do the Spurs want him to go out there and play in pain? Because the Spurs are not a team that needed to go out and get a bunch of free agents in the market, because that's not the way they play. They get guys that wants to play basketball and understand the system. And as a result, they always the top 3 teams in the West. All these other teams got all these superstars and all this money they spending on these guys, and they're getting beat by guys who playing basketball. They're playing the rules of the game. Now, how are these guys of non-superstars beating all these teams that got all these young, high-flying, three-point shooting talent? Because it's knowledge of the game, knowing how it's played. So the game is very simple. So I wouldn't see Kawhi Leonard breaking his neck. Oh, man, we got to get a superstar in here when you go into the Western Conference Finals every year. So why would he need to be having any more superstars? He got hurt in the Western Conference Finals. The only denominator that changed was like he was it. He was the main factor in there. So I couldn't see he's the MVP candidate. This season has been a disappointment because his quad injury that he's had and suffered just did not get better. It's a bad injury to have. It's an annoying injury. And it just hindered his whole game. And if he's sore or is it still messed up, the player's health, the players got to tell you how they feel. The doctor asks you how you feeling. So if he said he was good enough to play and the doctor signed off and said he's cleared, then that's a different story. But obviously there's something wrong with Kawhi, because definitely he would play. He's not somebody that's going to shy away from the challenge. So that's what's going on with Kawhi Leonard. I think his tenure in San Antonio is up. I think the trust level is gone. Him and Uncle Robinson, they out. I'm out.